Hello, world. Welcome to my channel, Proteus Augustus. I'm an artist, scientist, and American Constitutionist. And my vocal cords are a little on the bass side this morning. And I gotta get my teeth clean. Looking too much like a Brit, but at least mine are healthy. I drink too much tea, you know. Anyways, um, things ain't looking good for the world right now, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, I've been talking about this, and I'm not the only one, about this happening for a while. I'm going back 20 years now. I started putting out papers. You know, you could see these things happening. These young guys that come up, they don't come up like us. We're just regular people. You know, they come up in families that have a lot of power and money, right? And even though their families might have done well, that doesn't mean they're going to. And they put a big effect on the rest of the world, regardless of whether they're a monarchy, a theocracy, whatever. You know, all of these families across the planet are fighting each other. You know, 90% of us don't give a shit about all this conflict. You know, I mean, I would say that most human beings would be okay with sharing stuff, right? And putting the crazies in hospitals and locking up criminals. That's the only way you can have a civil society, right? But what's happening now in Israel is medieval, man, right? This harkens back to the day when men had to kill off the women and children or enslave them, right? And the men, right? Because what else were they going to do with them? I mean, if you really study Caesar, perhaps some people don't go deep enough and understand why he was a, quote, Shakespearean character, why he was a tragedy under his own hand, right? When you really look closer at it, I admire this guy more and more now. The more I know about as much as I can know about the man. But, you know, this man gave mercy to Alaric. I don't know if I'm saying that man's name. The Gaul, right? When he went to Gaul, he let the guy go. Didn't know who he was. He ends up fighting him in the end. And Alaric got freaking 230,000 men. He's got 40. Meanwhile, the senators that don't like him, he don't know about. He's been gone for 8 years, doubling the size of the empire, suffering, living in a tent, and doing it for the people. You know, I'm not sure he was doing it for himself. I think he really believed in it. I really think he believed in the Republic. And there's reasons for that. But looking at him, right? I mean, he lets the guy go. He ends up having to go through a year of fighting this guy or whatever. Takes him down. Finally, the guy comes out and says, Alaric, that is, don't kill all of us, because if you do, our gods will die. There'll be no one to worship them. I mean, that's just... Meanwhile, the senators back in Rome are saying, he ain't going to beat these guys. Don't worry about it. We don't have to take him out. We already tried to call him back. He ain't coming back right now. Right? But he won. And he knew they were trying to stop him. Right? And he came back, but he told the people, I don't want to be a dictator. Right? I want to be a president. I don't want to dissolve the Senate. Well, that wasn't good enough for the Senate. We gotta understand, these are the same kinds of personalities, right, that human beings have been dealing with as long as it's been human beings. I mean, I don't mean to go off track, but this is all what it comes down to. But anyways, looking at it, he lets him go, and then he comes back to the Senate. Guys that were betting on him losing against the Gauls, right? People who they were getting taxes from. That's what I didn't understand. If they were getting tribute from the Gauls, then why did he have to go conquer it? It doesn't make sense to me. I'm not quite understanding that. Anyways, that could be a mistake in the literature I've been reading or whatever. But if Rome was getting taxes from these guys in Gaul as it was, then why he need to go up there and take Gaul? But that's for another day. But anyways, he comes back, the Senate's not happy with him, they stab him to death and kill him. Right? But they only did that after he hunted Pompey down and those senators like Cato and Brutus. He hunted them down, he defeated them in battle, only to give them mercy again, to show them, listen, I ain't like you, man. I'm good with the Republic. I ain't trying to run everything. I'll give you mercy. They come back, they sit in the Senate again. They plot to kill him. The very thing that the senators wanted to prevent, that being an emperor, they ended up getting, because Caesar was loved. And even though Mark Antony and Octavian fought, right? Octavian, who won and later became Augustus, they hunted them motherfuckers down and killed them all. And then they just said, well, can't trust the Senate. I'm your emperor. Right? I mean, you can't have it both ways. But we decided that we were going to give the power to the people, not to a military, not to a government, but to the people. Right? And we have a political party called the Democratic Party that is not it's a communist globalist party. They are not for the United States. They're being paid by foreign potentates and central bankers that have rich money that want to dominate the world because they're crazy people, right? They have this desire in their head. It's like, that's their high, I guess, right? I mean, some guys are happy with having a beer or a smoke, watching a football game. These guys got to conquer the world in their minds. That's how psychotic they are. They can't even share, a little piece of land next to some water. Right? And now you're getting a slaughter. Right? These terrorists are not terrorists. They're an army. And they need to be defeated like an army. And we gotta fight them like medieval, like they're fighting. Right? Because it's not gonna stop. Because they keep raising their children to hate and to be warriors to fight against the other group of people. Doesn't matter what you call the groups. Right? This is tribalism. This is power structures that have a nucleus of an individual to, or maybe, proportional to the size of the population within that group, who managed to use theocracy or some kind of argument. I mean, it's like calling you a Nazi or whatever, right? Listen, the facts are what they are. Now in this information age, right, no good men or women should hide their head in the sand any longer. It's all there for you to see, and we outnumber them drastically. Right? The thing is they got the weapons, they got the power, and they got the psychosis. It is. There's no reason why humanity can't get along. This world is a fucking utopia in the universe, and they ain't even happy with that. They think it's gonna die. Ain't gonna die. It might get a lot wetter, but that's a good thing, right? The rain will bring the carbon down with it, right? And the rain will nourish the ground. The earth is already turning green, really. If you look at NASA photos over the last 50 years, at least that's unless they were lying to me or somebody put, I thought it was at NASA, right? Anyways, I just want to do this video because, only thing I can do is give my analysis, and I put papers out 20 years ago on China, and where we would be today. Because I was in Boston, listen, I got eyeballs in ears, man. I don't have to tell you the whole story, but I watch these people. Yeah. And every one of you should know. You're not a small person. You're a human being with a life, and you have a vested interest in this world just as much as those rich people do. Right? And if you have private property, you have a right to protect it, and they don't have a right to take it. All these communist principles the Democratic Party is imposing upon the American people. Out here, I've been out west now for 3 years, and it's terrible. They have no state police. They can't control the public lands, and it's only going to get worse unless these states establish a state police and an authority over the counties and all their lands. And if they can't afford that, we need a federal system, right, to protect our property. Right? You don't want to call it the Army, call it something else. But if it was me, I'd be sending the Army out here, right, and securing our lands and getting these interlopers off that are committing crimes here, right? Because these local law enforcement people, that's why I tell them, listen, I'm going to defend myself. I'm a good man. You got to work with me, right? I'm not out here I'm just here. I'm not out here to cause. I don't associate with criminals, man. I don't deal with nonsense like that, man. I spent too much of my life. I thought when I got old, like I was, as long as I kept my my health. I can't even take that. Yeah, see, I'm getting old. Talking about my health, right? My brain health, my body health. As long as I stay healthy and my juice, I still got juice, I thought maybe, I could settle down. Ain't no woman gonna be happy with the money I got. Right? These women, they just want. I'm not gonna live in the street, to bring a kid in the world. I never would do that in my life, and I'm certainly not gonna do that now. My most valuable asset is my time now, and what I could do with it. But anyways, what's all that gonna matter if they're gonna just start all these wars on us? Right? It's just terrible. But yeah, like I was saying, you gotta go medieval on these guys, that's the kind of war they want to fight. You gotta fight the way they want to fight. You just keep giving them, you just keep letting them gnaw at you. You just keep letting them take little pieces of you, like a bed bug. Every night, taking a little chunk out of you, right? If you can't get rid of the bed because you're too poor and you can't buy another one, you're too stupid to figure out that you can get some shit to kill them off. Or you don't have the money for that either. Whatever the case is, right? Israel can't say that. Right? They need to burn that mattress down. Right? They can't let people live around them that are gonna do that. Right? You don't see Israel going in, pulling women and children out and massacring them. That's not, what is that? It's not like they attacked listen, if I'm going to fight a war, how are women and children and old people fucking stopping me from conquering anything? I could go down to Mexico and I could take them in a fucking month, no problem. I have to kill women and children, I don't have to destroy anything. I got air superiority, right? I'll just roll in there myself. If I was the fucking president, I'd do it just for the fun of it. I'm serious as a heart attack, man. You know, I mean, how many times, how many men in life get to feel like Caesar, right? Caesar would give his left nut for the vest I got. They wouldn't have been able, well, they probably would have still killed him, but, you know, they had to get, you know, but at least it would have been some kind of defense. I mean, they had armor, right? You know, and they learned how to get around it. But anyways, yeah, you can roll down to Mexico, take that, no sweat. They'll fold up. I subjugate them and make them a protectorate of the United States of America. Give all the people there all the rights that any American citizen has. Then I would hunt down all the cartel guys and kill them or imprison them. I'd take all their money, wherever it went. If it went to China, then we got to shut them off anyway. And this is just the first step to this Western Hemisphere. We need to lock it down. We need to bring back the Monroe Doctrine. We need to bring these guys in line, show them who the big dog on the block is. Just like on the, you know, you can't let people dominate the street. And at that level, that's a street. Mexico's a street, right? You can't let them just fucking come in here and destroy our neighborhood, right? They declared war on us a long time ago, man. These politicians just work with them because they're just as crooked. There's no telling how many billions of fucking dollars in kickbacks some of these guys are getting. And they walk around like they're fucking the next thing to Christ. They don't know anything about walking with Christ. You know, not in my opinion. All right, now why the American people are suffering and they're fighting these foreign wars over there. I'm sure these Ukrainian people, I'm sure they're just as fine people as any other human on the planet. But they don't run anything, you know, and they're suffering. And it's not my fault. And it's not the rest of the American public's fault that they're suffering, right? It's a human condition. And now they're going to sucker us into Israel. This is their plan, right? This is the commie globalist plan. Right? I gotta wrap this up. It's getting pretty quick. But, you know, I mean, all of this war and all of this strife and all of this conflict, really, I mean, as far as this hemisphere was concerned, if this is the way these guys want to play ball, if I was the president, this would all be mine. I could not be stopped. I'd let China starve to death, right? For what they did to us until they prostrated themselves. See, that's the way they think. You know, the American citizen, the American soldier, right? The American Navy protected this world so that we could have commerce. And what do? They get all that money to just kill us off and tell us they hate us and they're gonna kill us. Why? It's insane. Why couldn't they just let, you know, China be a better place than what it was, right? And get along? Why do they have to dominate everything? These people are crazy. They're just crazy people, ladies and gentlemen. Just as crazy as Hitler was or wasn't, and or Stalin was or wasn't. I don't care whether you think they were or they won't. Look at the bodies. How is that a good outcome? I don't care if you want to be a communist, right? Or a capitalist, or whatever. How is that a positive outcome by any objective measure? That a few people in the world get to slaughter millions of people because they just want to. They can't accept their position in the world and how their population evolved. And over time, they get more people, and the West, you know, taxpayer, they take our money, and then they kill us with it. And that's what Biden has done, just like Obama. And no one can explain to me how that's not treason against the American people and our republic. Right? He's got to be the biggest traitor in human history, bigger than Brutus. Right? But Brutus again, because there was familial feelings. Caesar gives mercy, and Brutus stabs him the final time in the heart. And that's what these political parties are doing to us. The American taxpayer is Caesar. We paid with our productivity and our blood as free men and women, right, to make the world a better place. And all we get is these other foreign potentates working behind the scenes for decades to destroy us. And that's why we are where we are today. God help you all. Credo Christus. Crede Christus. Till next time. Think free. Be free. And eat free.